Hi there. My name is Michael Green, and today we are starting a new series, which will be a speedrun series from 800 ELO all the way up to 2000 ELO on the Gurgenidze Modern, which is a hypermodern opening with the black pieces I'm going to be publishing a Chessable course on in around 2 weeks. So I wanted to start this series before the course came out, so people get an idea what the opening is all about. And I kind of got reminded of this idea to speedrun because I created quite a bait post that I posted on Reddit on r/chess, and someone in the comments replied suggesting that the only way they're ever going to buy a Chessable course is if there's a speedrun series on it. Here's me trying to please the masses and produce some content that will hopefully increase the chances of people hearing about the course. Because even though, I've really spent a lot of time writing and making it as polished as possible, if people don't know about the course, then, people aren't going to find out, how great this course is. So, in case you're new here, I want to quickly share with you a couple things. So first of all, that this is actually going to be my second Chessable course. So I actually have one Chessable course from before, which is 1c3 Venom. And if anyone hasn't caught up with, the most recent piece of showbiz, we had the India versus USA match, and actually Caruana played C3 Venom against Gukesh. Probably he hasn't studied my course, but he did start the game with 1c3, following some of the principles that I've also recommended in this course. So that was a very big boost of confidence for me. And basically this course was quite a success. So 1 year on, I have now written a course called the Old-School Gurgenidze, a complete repertoire versus 1e4. And I've done the bulk of the writing, and Grandmaster Damien Lemos has done the bulk of the video content. And the reason why we split it in this way is because, I'm very happy to do videos, I'm very happy to write, but Damien likes to explain openings from an ideas and plans perspective, as opposed to really like move by move analysis, which is kind of what Chessable is all about. So basically, hopefully we're going to get like the strategical input from Damien at a Grandmaster level, and then we're going to have move by move explanations, hopefully very clear for you guys to learn from in the course. So as you can see, the course is broken down into an introduction, and we then have the different chapters, and the way it's split up is after the introduction, I have a short chapter just for any of you who is under 1500 rated. I've created a short repertoire for you to make use of, and this will be complete at your level. Should cover everything that you need to know. And for everyone above this rating, then the rest of the course kind of goes into the more nuances of the different white setups that white can try. And I would say that the three main lines are this Austrian attack, Averbach system, and classical system. And then you've kind of got these more engine-like tries that are also relatively testing, which is like this bishop e3 line, which shares a lot of similarities with the early h3 line. And then you've also got what happens when they push h4 really early. And then you've got this bishop c4 and bishop d3 line as well. And these 8 lines are basically the main repertoire. And then we've got a couple alternatives that I've thrown in as well, just to give you a bit more flexibility. And then we have advanced content, which is for people who are like 2500 online and above, or people who just really want to master this Gurgenidze Modern opening. And then we've got some bonus content which has even more model games. I mean, there are model games in each chapter relevant to the theory, but we've got some more model games and some discussion of the history. So this is the course as a whole, basically. And I wanted today to start this speedrun series, so hopefully we get some Gurgenidze games and I can explain the ideas. So without further ado, let me change here and let's play some games. So of course with these speedruns, we always have to hope that not only do we get the black pieces, but white starts the game with e4, because this is a repertoire against e4. So Come on, Lege, let's go. So we're gonna get our first Gurgenidze Modern. It's very common for the opponent to take the complete center, and we have knight f3. So this already limits some of white options. For instance, knight c3 and f4 is the Averbach system. The Austrian attack system, which is the first chapter of the course. And this Gurgenidze Modern is characterized by this setup, basically with c6. Most moderns generally go d6 here, and then knight f6 and castles. But as you'll see, the Gurgenidze Modern goes c6, and I'm very glad to see my low-rated opponent play this, because this is what I've predicted in the majority of the games for under 1500. White will just develop and control the center. And what we're going to do is strike back in the center in a very similar way to a Caro-Kann opening. Now, if you don't know Caro-Kann, not to worry, I will explain the plans and ideas. And at this moment, white basically has three options. Either they can advance, which I call the advanced variation, either they can capture, which is the exchange variation, or they can leave the tension, which I call the tension variation. Now, if they advance, we are going to develop the bishop, and the idea is that we want to close this pawn structure and make this super solid structure. And we do not mind if they attack our bishop, and we have to trade off our bishop, because basically our pawns are going to cover the light squares for us. So we're very happy to trade, and what you'll notice is that we have a slight space disadvantage. So when we have a slight space disadvantage, it's really handy to get rid of one of our pieces, because then the remaining pieces have enough space to maneuver. So we now get our king safe. We've got good control of the dark squares. We've got good control of the white squares. And now the key break in this position to remember is we want to go c5. Now, in this position, okay, I could have started with the knight here just so that if he takes, I can take back and be completely secure. But the point is that we really should be able to win back this pawn. It's going to be very difficult for them to hold on to it. And here we get our first mistake. This, unfortunately, is not a safe square, and that is a free piece. So at the end of the day, yeah, at the lower level, it really will be about, can you just make sure that you're not blundering any material? Now, we have to be a bit careful here. There is some pressure. There is still this pawn. I'm considering whether to develop a piece, whether I should try and trade queens. Probably I'm going to develop the piece. I think this is the most principled. And the thing is, whenever they take this pawn, you've got to realize that this pawn is going to be weak. So we can start trying to gang up on it. But of course, probably anything we do now is probably going to be fine, because, you know, we are up a whole piece. And I don't really worry about this pin being introduced, because we can always bail out by taking this knight with check. But as you can see, this opening, I definitely believe is a success. Now, okay, do I really want to allow this queen to come in? Probably I don't want to take any risks. So let's just take with the bishop, get the knight onto c6. Okay, now we can block. And all of these trades are going to be in our favor. Normally, we want to keep this beautiful bishop that will shine down the enemy's position. But now that we're actually up material, trading is really the easiest. Because if you imagine that the queens come off, the rooks come off, everything trades, then at the very end of it, we're just going to have an extra knight. And the knight and a king against a lone king is definitely going to be very advantageous for us. Now, I'm very tempted to just trade everything, but the problem is if we do this big, long trade, white will win a pawn at the very end, and I'm not sure if I want to allow that. Although, having calculated this all the way to the end, if they do take that pawn, I can finish with a checkmate on this square. So I believe I can actually trade everything. So yeah, basically my opponent doesn't have a window, and that's the other thing about the Gurgenidze Modern when you play with a fianchetto structure. So fianchetto is when you put the pawns in this way and have a bishop in the hole. When you have this fianchetto structure, you don't have to worry about back rank checkmate. And actually the opponent fell right into my line of calculation, and this is a checkmate. So yeah, very glad to surpass the 800 rating barrier, and I hope you enjoyed that introduction to the Gurgenidze Modern. So do let me know if you enjoyed the format of this video, if you would prefer that the games were longer. I was trying to think what is the best time control to strike a balance of getting many games in while not taking too long. But yeah, the key takeaways I would say are that in this opening, we set up with this structure almost every single time, whatever white does. And at the lower level, you will see this set up the most common. And at this moment, white has three options. They can either push the pawn, they can exchange the pawn, or they can keep the tension. Now, for now, let's just take a look at this advanced variation, because that's what happened in the game. And the key thing to remember is we do not play the move e6 while the bishop is still undeveloped, because if we leave it undeveloped, then this bishop is going to suffer. So we make sure to develop the bishop first, which is what happened in the game. Okay, for some reason the board has gone light green and will not go back. Oh well. In any case, we develop the bishop, and now we can lock up the pawn chain. And next we are going to develop our knights. And what I'd recommend is that probably we have a choice, right? We can either develop the knight first so that when we play c5, we can ensure that we can take back. That's probably the safest way. Or we can break with c5 already. And the reason why that might be useful is that we can actually develop the knight to c6 immediately and try and put some pressure on this white center. And this c5 break is going to be the main way we kind of break down the center, because as you can see, our bishop's a little bit unhappy staring at this wall of pawns, so we do want to break it down. And when we have the choice of whether to break with c5 or maybe break with f6, you've got to be careful with this f6 break, because it completely undermines your entire pawn structure. Right? As soon as this pushes, then this pawn becomes weak, and we don't have a light squared bishop anymore to give it some extra support. So really, in the Gurgenidze Modern, this f6 move is extremely rare, and I would probably refrain from playing it at all at the lower level. Maybe once you get a bit stronger and you've studied the course, maybe you'll appreciate when f6 is okay. But for the most part, we attack the center with c5, we then develop our pieces, and yeah, luckily in this game we didn't even have to show how the queenside play develops, because I mean, our opponent blundered already. And then it just becomes a matter of showing that you understand that the endgames will be in our favor because we are material up. And then we just have to trade the pieces in a way that's favorable for us and get us into a winning endgame. So yeah, that's the Gurgenidze Modern. It's my favorite opening to play against e4. I am playing it in Blitz, Rapid, and Classical. And let's not forget, Hikaru Nakamura uses the Gurgenidze Modern as his main Blitz weapon. So I hope that was instructive. Thanks for tuning in, and see you in another video very soon to continue the speedrun. Okay,